Now, a running back on the move. Rutgers lands big-time productive running back CJ Campbell. Played this last season at FAU, was at FSU. Before that was a walk-on at Florida State. Had a really, really solid season for FAU in what wasn't a great year for the Owls. But 844 yards, 11 touchdowns, averaged 5.1 yards per carry, and was a real threat in the receiving game. 40 catches for 466 yards and 3 touchdowns. Talking to some Florida State people and just reading some stuff during the season, there was kind of a sentiment that he could have helped them this season. They had some injuries there at the running back spot, but again, former walk-on, really cool to see this sort of story. And the landing spot, you really have to love that landing spot for him at Rutgers. Greg Schiano, his power run game, pretty consistent over the years. And Kyle Monangai replacing him, who's been, a really, really good player for them. He'll be playing at the next level. Rutgers now trying to build a little running back pipeline. Isaiah Pacheco, of course, a couple years ago with the Chiefs. Now Monangai, and then you bring in a CJ Campbell. If you're a Rutgers fan, hopefully you can continue in that line.
Yeah, big play back. He's going to make big plays in the running game and the passing game, long touchdowns. Such an interesting profile. Usually running backs, they don't walk on and have success because it's not the hardest position to scout. You do have an Ashton Jeanty who's a 3-star and becomes a Heisman contender, but it's not the hardest position to scout. You can run or you can't. But this is a guy who walked onto Florida State, like you mentioned. He's originally from Kaplan, Louisiana. Then moves and plays high school ball in Panama City, Florida on the Panhandle, stays on the Panhandle at FSU, comes down to the Southeast at FAU, and now back up north to Rutgers. So he's been on a little journey. But looking into this recruitment, one big factor, Malcolm Ray, who originally from Carroll City down here in Miami, was at Florida State and then transferred up to Rutgers. He told Campbell, listen, this is a place you want to be. They can really make the most out of your talent, and you're going to compete at the Big Ten level. Obviously, the Rutgers program's in a very stable place right now. It is a winning program. It is a rock-solid program with a familiar face up top. You know what you're getting with Schiano. So to me, stable move. If you want to be competing in the Big Ten and you're not the kind of guy that can just walk into a Michigan, walk into a Penn State, walk into an Ohio State with the NFL guys that they're trotting out there, Rutgers, a great situation, great track record with running backs, which you mentioned, Pete. And he brings something different than those guys with his big play ability. Those guys were very physical. Pacheco was real fast too. But the run pass versatility of this player, CJ Campbell, I think is going to add a different look to this offense.
And you see what our commenter Gio says. He says Schiano stays underrated. Without a doubt, man. Those teams always compete, always tough. So really good pickup here. I'm a big fan of the get for them in CJ Campbell coming over at the running back position.